Yeah, this is really very interesting conversation. I'm very excited of all the points. I just want to emphasize point the new whether it's a new phenomenon, Kennedy or one like long distance in marriage, and why it was actually better those days because of the polygamy. So you clan moja clan we rotate right? But here now in West and Africa, yin can diar ko luin ka rotate na. So if na yin to chi yok ke mental illness ali be dom right in the bala mo because in kudu ya day to ko chin anything can happen to you, right? But night war cái lên in ben lor ni ting na chi ngade in bela chi ya ji ting ken ya la ki le lin ke ka cha den tu na ya ji ku bela ro mo ki in ke gor ya yin tik so which is not the case right now because Piroge the enjoyment too, and you need to put that in mind that if you want batik by any method ku read out can do this service and it could lead to breakdown of marriages. So during those times it worked perfectly, but now it's not working. But there are reasons why people sacrifice themselves to do that. Mostly economic reason, right? If, for example, you are working here as a cleaner, or you are working labor job yichin, kache enough batik bag and kumita expensive kudia kwache tengu they are in to assess to night when she who love soft life beneath bay and in Bitcoin economically. So can one by child station Africa ku yitwe to ding de pay a choy meet purity than bay and boku duck peer way ku back a becker. So those are some of the good reasons. You calculate the way I don't know, but some of the men chan ke jam can ke you know yeah. Now bet to be pretty everything right. Come with your way I chin come one. So that one is good for the family to stay together. If the goal is we could lose stay together, and also you could think I can harm because if an ake American cake, ikape. So if not to take is Africa, kwamu meet, I can go right cake, but na bucket is big barrier, right? But when jamu jiramin kwalu lo piet or arir there are actual find creative ways right now but now thing doing it actual thing doing hustling yeah thing doing thing or thing move with is Africa, so you have actual two women, so now that marriage is working really perfectly. So I go back but I think thing there could you want it could you lose anything and it even help thing it because thing now can actually meet let Africa could like a more entity thing tiang more could lose it and free. So now people have to make trade-off. You know, when you enjoy yourself, at least but think but you think we are so think is happy that you are providing and supporting her. So this is now women for women. So kind of bringing that women supporting women to bathing. So they are now it's not official mate, but a family member who is supporting to grow family together, right? So there are those elements. Some men cannot afford belonging to Africa. You cannot have two women because in Jaguar. So so that's actually one of the reasons in rural villages because in cutting being Paul Banang pro Baguro. Then I atung do ni chon my will go. I think road you shall go at your my go. Yeah, so carry one war but to any yagungadi. I correct I call a con in Jare Tokyo. Totally read it. But now with so banalanya village, they will understand that need to have two. And so it gives men also liberty or power to make their own decision in marriage without being questioned. Because if now qualify with the by it will take a long discussion to reach there, or even a courage to even mention it somehow. So you better get someone on the table and will not question you that much. So that would be my take on that point. On the second point about women empowerment, if women are the one that are, it has well been addressed. So there are really challenges that maybe make women not to empower themselves. But overall, to Tiang and living standard women improve. Then in very village, but we suffer. pangwan ba bicharin che empowered ba din cheng damdu win che yen ka la nyang du na itin ka ko nyang you like you think while you are more happier in Nairobi when if can pay then bato pan jeng ko bit ya ran uti ko ba la tur ko ba all those things but now there are a lot of challenges in the village so in the end if nothing in ke dia kita tiak international ko ka ye I know better well-being compared to the villages. So that one again, I think one empowerment. But of course, they cannot level up in year when to ben again. Either year ke who's sponsorship or chinom den ke bay or year ke dot ben you want ke dot ben kwa will also cool it out. I don't empower. That's a bear, right? Because now you can make decision, you can debate, you can go to spaces that your mom, I can't call up in. So there's a different level of empowerment you have compared to be like the be in Nairobi or even be in Air to catch up. And so it's really great. Document the
Okay, Achia Wimbledon, and then we will reroute back to continuing with the topic.
Yeah, I would love to just 1 minute because we're running out of time and we have the juicy part I can go right. So it's on point that Alakir made before. I would love to disagree a little bit. I know like Lost Boy's wife might actually have some of other challenges that they go through, but one of them it's not raising or it's not having a lot of responsibilities like in terms of house chores because number one adia chicken home you bring they're brought from let's say DRKE captain war well DRKE general yi man yalwel yi merko those ones they have seen it, they have seen what suffering is, but these women they have not because you are brought from the village station in East Africa some people even have 2 to 3 jobs and then cake I think me the we can me these because mojiki law after 5 years kuletum dene danyan kuberja. So you have that duration of like time where you could actually do something for yourself, or you could ask your husband to support you in any idea that you would. So that's where I wanted to disagree on. Them at the article and they have time because I think in your school when you decide young kabadit because career do ya dang kadang ato at stake in like to watch aliu kadenti anang like time in between where they are actually idle and you see them like if they were really kadang pinned down by family responsibilities, they will not be all over the place around dancing on TikTok and going for concert and all this. I do not say that they don't have some of challenges they faced. They do, but I don't agree that they have a constraint or when it comes to outros and making babies that it's pinning them down to go to school. They have help all of the place relatives. So if anyone want, they're always empowered, just go. Use that time, chen mo you know, Benny Rock, Benny Aladan, because Kanga Blon distance zone.
Perfect. So now let's bring the conversation to what would be a time period that would have affected us as the people in this panel. So from 2010 to right now. Again, keeping in mind demographic through UN, kujaya specifically now Wamit Kawisk that are coming, that have been arriving more and more every year through sponsorship. So let me just start with, or maybe for this time period, let's focus more on Mitkawisk because I feel like we've exhausted Koi Koke in the other time period. Yongo yen Mitkawisk jal kwan kinyir kan ke boken cake and leki bilatige nyirkok to Africa. Why do you think that is, ladies? Because these are men that we interact with a lot. So maybe we can, we've had conversations here and there with some of them, and we do know what their motivation might be, although, you know, not in its entirety, but we might have an idea of what that might be. So why is it that Midgawus go back home to get romantic partners?
Majority na bukutine waben kawai koidir water in our 20s, and even koi on previously before us ake boke kojito, and definitely that means that an around we need to one by, and you want to keep that promise. I also want to take it back to time where ye, let's say koi want to ben, I'm not going to mention anyone, koi want to ben twinga. These people, it used to be like the ratio of who student used to the ratio of men used to be higher, because even anon classes ke uzi any role ke ben ke chen and bear in mind koike are, and we said before, don't easily integrate into other cultures, so they would rather go home chanachin near kentorina and marry back home. Because kadang ito yung core be biting double acknowledge, right? Another second to that is that second to that is that you know, I said this point before. I can decisions can I can influence greatly by their parents back home, and so even if they wanted big uh, it would feel like you are not you're not going to be valued enough, and nobody at the end of the day. So I believe the ratio was like it was a factor, the ratio of men to women. That's like we wrote one to convey one in, let's say, the cohort of who's that came before us. Our time, I would say that one of the reasons we tend to overlooked, but it's like, and I tried, but we did, yeah. I believe one of the reason is that we know our condition as student, right? We come here with nothing, you starting from scratch, and your school is there in internet. Then of course we are not put in the same geographical area. We are scattered all over the place. So you would really want to be with someone, but they are from different cities or different provinces, and so that one hinders you from actually having an effective communication. Bear in mind, we have other problems too, like school, and then now it hinders relationship because you don't even have the resources or what it takes for you to be commuting back and forth to be with that special someone. And clearly you know that our men naturally wants to be the providers, but the situation is put them or force them to be in that situation whereby you are living you surviving. And so now you really want to make that relationship work, but it cannot work because at that time you will struggle and all that. So I would not 100% say that it's not them not wanting to marry here. It's that those factors. And of course, there's that aspect of them still not being integrated into this culture enough. And that sense of control, like there's that sense of masculinity, so you feel like, you know, this one, no, I'm Dubai and Babia, there is that too. And yeah, for me teach Japan, I'm really proud of them, by the way. I'm really proud of them. Ekilani ran ben kachin gon kan han beng na campaign, you start a family. That's how it should be. I think we should learn from that. Me and Alaki walk forward. I think we should have done that, you know. And it took a band book and then there's that pride too. I'm not going to 100% blame men. There's a problem with us too, you know, because when first Kind of example, when you come home and you have that one relationship and then it's stick in your head, you think that it's gonna work, and like now you just don't want men. You're like, oh, I have a boyfriend, I have a boyfriend. By the time by the time you are here and the reality kicks in, and for sure, like there are some obstacles that really make long distance relationship to work, right? And it's not working, and already we pushed away because of that one relationship. It becomes so hard for you to like get someone again because maybe one, they still think that you are with that someone, or two, they have exhausted their trials and now they're like, ah, chachalo inguto kani yeni nyanti, you know. So yeah, I like it.
Oh yeah, that's interesting topic. I'm going to talk about status and why it's so easy for men to go back home here as compared to Batir. First is the as you leave it and again much in Pietok school, you literally don't even have your career established, or you're still in school and you want to marry. Nyan Tottenham will not. I like in my personal opinion. I am or school, or school, and starting a family in this context, it doesn't make sense. So it will be easy for Branjal Kuleti Nyan Toriti, who's free at Chito schooling and ready to take care of family responsibilities as much at school day kube jakoro loy. Nale Ben status that much always want to be ahead, and but the to the same level Canadian is not for the weak. You will be challenged at every turn and you need to be ready to deal with it. um so yeah, I think my road, I'm just assuming maybe it's not the case for everybody, but I think my road into the same level Kenyani interested in, you already have that insecurity that, oh, if I approach her, maybe she is not interested in my level. And that is from history that women marry up, and that has been happening in our community. Nya etiak muito to yenum twing. Um go nang that proper, I don't know how to put a proper power balance, because Naim Wajento doing supposed to be the leader of the family, is supposed to be more economically established. Kujeti jebani echo kana kake. Na chatlos huli you talk way to talk way to koroloi talk away to me now, much that ego to say, oh, and I did this because I did it. Nya chigam because of chingam, not because kicha loy, right? But I think it's a big misunderstanding. Not everyone out here is waiting much below a different class could be jagam. No, I think they need to have more courage and take chances. Like Rora chak tinga ako mairan ben because you to abel to ka college like mwanaume ni kujitetea. So Rurkaka will do anything for love, and they show up and they show the action bekaloi. And a lot of thing by then come with a kinin convince Kenya and there's no need to commit yourself in a relationship where you don't think you're valued, or you don't think the love is strong. Obviously, now near find someone who would give their kidney and liver for you. It doesn't matter where they are. Talk across the ocean or talk to them, go for it. But now, for other reasons, I think it's more advantageous to look within your environment than bala across the ocean. And that is for my brothers in Christ.
Yep, Kwal.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. And yeah, you guys got that. Could take note. You take I need peers. By the way, I want to also blame our community. If you see, if you go back, I think it's maybe during my time. Those days, education was actually for ugly girls. So there's that mindset cannot establish that if you are a short girl, you did go, who don't have hope for attracting men. That was the mindset at the time of Kakuma. And that one actually, as I said before, men usually are custodian of communal mindset of the culture. So I think a lot of these young people, they're actually near. There is an MKL focus in school to come here I ugly girls. Near Piata one, you can you my call the courage a jar bake a kin quine. And so they look around and they see ugly girls. Not because they are really ugly, but because no program that they really don't know yeah, models, right? Like yeah, the model guy, the tall girl, yeah, I don't know, right? So that mindset to like community does actually set low expectation for girls who actually focus in the education, and that is actually coming now to bite has in ways that we cannot even try to imagine, because if now these are girls who are really empowered, and we could end up losing them to other races or other communities, and that is actually is draining blood away from our community, because if you take the brain like these educated, powerful women outside of your community, then now in the community, and our community didn't see that coming. That by branding girls that way is actually not biting it. So that one I will blame community for that. Another thing too, you do mention when you long to long I share that year you know, that pride or that new modern dating style, you know, when we took at the time, we need white ku, kumerku, I can go, can quat, right? You only have attached to one person, you're a way, and I'm your long care when around catching the devil. You around, but a piece of around you, you could do share on Facebook. Where did this young girl get it from? This social media and can you okay and can you I think a rival. And I chat on do I just mock on you, I learn to lay jar I can the bear van. So I need a issue, and social media also enable it. So what technology we need are superior. Ekalen ga ko wani kwachi ni amaji ku jo ya teti ye kuno na e kin adi na tingi rim ki no ka yin bi kan ya by the time bi na ta on social media kin ti yin ti ringu a kin na je bela punja la po kin ye tek a kin ge beto si. So you also need to be careful not baran to do ba mo ko yin tom we focus around to, but keep others because you all children big tom to and I ka jam when wait kun jam to and walk one you did, because we really knew that this peer no. So in it guy need to quite when why is that, because we are very sensitive. So and especially who's were broken walk why you think why your community, we can call ourselves whose family, right? So if now you family like whose family, why you think why cheer siblings, and so if not you monya that's what you go can now qualify ku loko pom ya ki ti ber ko ba ber lu zero grace ba ber go na ko right kwa ni ke chi ngade ke chi ngade wa, so you don't want that thing right? So chaka ni tu ni ru not want tu mana da kan je mo nya lu ja be la ngade la ko de chi right ka chi right because ke ngade it's awkward. Although there's actually a good part of it, I can't go can all could be no man. I can't lay in a reference because to be honest, maybe that a bad person, there was a specific thing that was not working between them, and that could work with me because I watch. So we should not see that when you can't go can go can rotate until belong. Not like you'd be. So everything, I can zero grazing a part of the deal. So now don't shy away that why family I think what I bear call. No. So that is actually a big deal, right? You don't want ting nyan to con go can yan ngadi can win ngadi ba bella thing like chirke win war che por ka bivitor go because they left over ran one. It was like seriously. Right, so you live level barani, kubalum level baran kuch, no ran kuch, maybe beji ran ye changwan, it was good system, it era check while Louis live there, Louis held there, we manage it. So where if not level back level everywhere. So really, could book Paul can go and go. We are family, we should support each other, right? We can zero grace until we find our soulmate within us. Of course, you are brought it with in good faith, you develop. I need a They are when you don't maybe check on that when you have a even near Kapur Kalu compete on near Kaso Sudan will compete near Khartoum, near Sapur Kalu, and near Khartoum, like a year wrong. There is this thing, Yalu Raro, Minajan, so these people, when they get hold of you, they treat guys so well that when I knew one, you better go when you call me. So I think there's always the issue like expectation and how community general place that will need big outdoor. So I could be also listen, ping around and where also the reality is better than baby kumi, right? So if not only in like jam no piat, but in be a job 3 job, right? In be more within by age 50 in retired general. Why? But not young and don't go and Lula don't balance a lot 80 years old with in good health. So there is that also like Biden there is actual rise of something called homogamy, where people to at the same level are yeah. It's actually good for country because when I can get mad, it kind of react a lot of ping to the point. So I can get anyway. You know, but y'all lose struggle when you can actually join forces and make even our community stronger and better together. But of course, we also don't need inequality to increase that much, whereby so there is also that balance. So where Lobenian Teda from village, but also Dunyan who do want any because now let Yara West Africa we be roof cry. But the much a lot in it because I check way. So I could also look people back home in get a car, but yeah, I didn't want to preach, but it's very interesting and how it's happening. And I really want book support.
Wow. Achia, is your hand up or is it from previous?
It's up.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna take 1 minute because the
Yeah.
Aqua. Well, I think we're Kenya cool one like kirin to what we advertising it. Inja tiki chila you worked in. He covered the idea a career aspect of it because sometimes a man could really want to marry someone here, but as white scholars, right? Let's work at Chibo, what are immigrants, white scholars, we came ke bigger school and nya kuchirating ya dan kan no ka ke lo ke kwa kento school ya kento ka ke lo ya kenya and kuchang mochelo be already most of the time we tend to just put that one off and a guy would find it easy to just go home belatig because kwela benbi in a way that in kwela benbi by the way yikala lwel gal ni to na rucha but I chengerot that in that point in life anoka kun can get out together and you would not really want to give them up give them up and long London in life do in a low fashion in your head and you really want your career first of which Luntan anything there's no really one way to making it in life, you can start your family before your career and still work out, or you can career the law who Jemoila yo still works out. I think they work out with some people. So there's no really a one way to like it's all na nong when doing who yin and you feel like run a little bit a little bit a good family man, family oriented. By all means, just go with it and just try to make it work because now lots of me and you don't have no one. It becomes so hard for you and how's women what you can do disadvantage. It's not easier for us to go home kulwel balati poi kani purchula kula jortene ba ku denyi nyen ku jore diar ko chik so just don't let your chances go because of career. Just now you're family oriented and you really like them, by all means go with them. I think points been I can exhausted a lot of them. So I'm not really going to add anything. I wanted to add something, but no. No.
Yeah. Last
Yeah.
word, Aqua did a good job to market, but as mentioned, we talked about Korea, but Acho and I were done with school, so shoot your shot.
We're ready.
Wamesikia, hopefully they're listening. Let them flood your inboxes. So I feel like we would have gone on to talk about impacts, but I feel like we would be rehashing what we've already talked about because majority of the points that we've already mentioned previously would apply to this cohort as well. Maybe just a 1 minute comment that maybe Achio can speak to because this was a point that you raised that the younger WUSC generation, first of all, the ratio of men to women is almost evening itself out for this younger generation, and that some of them are coming also already in relationships that they do see through for some of them. So they're not as disadvantaged as we, the previous classes, because I think in our class, me and Akwal came in the same class. I think we were less than 10, the girls, and that's including Nyirke Rwandese, Nyirke Somalin, everybody. So we were less than 10 girls in our cohort. I think we would consider ourselves lucky to be Wetgawusk, but so is it now, is the trend changing that you're seeing younger the newer classes rather that there is an evening out of the ratio and that this phenomenon might reduce by virtue of, you know, there's an equal number of girls to boys coming to Canada?
Yes, I truly believe it's absolutely going to change because the new classes that are coming in are like pairing up real well, and I'm really so happy for them because it's easier. It's really easy. It's easier for you to make it here with your partner than Balabai, Kubara, and Balabay. So it's something that is going to even out with time. And statistically, even going with Kayla Baimane, ache new generation, a koi therke, a cake law. And there's nothing wrong. If it's working for you, absolutely go. But this is something that is going to even out. And Jam work and one of my friends, and like I think the mindset will change so much because I maybe they have seen or they have seen the experiences of people to the quaretine kukeki adenga chikiting. It's really financially almost not impossible, you know, to cater for a family there and cater for yourself here, because you know we are students most of the time. What on student loan, we have our needs. Families can be working on needs. Yeah, then now add your wife, babe, yeah, Kutao, East Africa. So I think in that, I think it in then worthy and I majority that jam can I no, see I'm not going back home. Me in Tahoe, like it's telling Abitik and good thing Nirabi KK Juju where do you luel ke bakala baya nyirato like nyirato it's almost age like age mo kukere nya che kranga che that che an issue so long she is above age, like she's age of legal marriage legally illegally it's all marriageable, if that is English.
Yeah, it is.
So long it's almost above the age of being married, then by all means shoot your shots. Because I think I'm the advocate of look at the actually in between with the internet. Tenwa advertise it. Advertise. It's easier, guys, to be here. You think really can be your wives, and are really mature. Like I've met a few of them or majority of them, and they're really mature. So just shoot your shots and just don't be all over the place.
Thank you for that. So I feel like we can start to wind down here in the sense that I feel like everything has been covered. we might have to ask for the opinion of men, WUSC men, and how they feel about why some of them still go back. But from what I'm hearing is that maybe in a few not generations, rather a few years, maybe 5 to 10 years, the narrative might have changed, right? Where we are not seeing the phenomenon of going back within our WUSC community to get a romantic partner. And from my point of view, let me just add, because I haven't added anything, I think it's also because they are seeing the benefit of having an empowered woman by your side. So just nowadays with the economy, it's very difficult for a house to be a one income household. And for you, that one person to be the person that is being relied on for everything. Mete bay will, mete core pampas, bay will, so I think for them, maybe the younger generation are seeing what they could be if they paired up with educated, empowered women who can contribute to not only the household, but to the society at large, because they have something between their ears to contribute to the growth of our community and our country eventually as a whole, right? So, in the words of my husband, as Achia mentioned, Nyankuch, he is a very big advocate for this, and I think if he was on this call today, he would end by saying, "Please date each other, get to know each other, because we have better opportunities to know each other here closely than Ran Bala youth pay, right? And marry each other. It's beneficial. I can tell you from my point of view, there's benefits to it. Maybe a call too, who's who has a similar arrangement, marriage, can also speak to that. And we can encourage the young people to continue with the relationships that they have, as long as they're working and they're not toxic. We can encourage them to grow their relationships and marry. So I feel like, to summarize, we've seen why the phenomenon of transatlantic relationships, and I feel like we keep saying transatlantic relationships. I don't know if it would be transatlantic if you're in Australia, but transcontinental relationships between our South Sudanese communities in East Africa and the Western communities is a thing. We've seen why it was initially, you know, the go-to for for our community, and we've seen the impacts of that. Should you have any contribution as a viewer, you can always leave a comment in the comment section. We would also like for you to, like and subscribe. If you have any questions that you think we did not address here today, also leave them in the comment section, and Akwal, who's the host of this podcast, can probably go through them and answer them on your behalf. If you need answers from specific people from this panel, you can ask the questions directly to them, and Akwal will try to get them to respond to those questions for you. But I feel like this was an interesting topic. Our views are limited to our own experiences, our own interactions, so do not be harsh or judge us. Be graceful. If you think that maybe there needs to be a part two with different people on this panel, you can suggest that. If there's any specific person you want to see on the panel speaking to the topic, you can also suggest that to Akwal, and I think she can make it happen for you. But I feel like we've come to the end of this topic. So thank you so much, ladies.